Welcome to the squad. He's Icewater. I'm Puma. We're going to talk some college football playoffs, some surprises. Surprise, surprise. College basketball, NBA, and the CP3 situation. And we're going to talk a little bit of the NFL. What's on your mind, son? And we'll give you our last second shot. But the NCAA playoffs, man, I was a little shocked. I have to admit that they left out Notre Dame. But it made sense to me why they left out Notre Dame, because they lost to Miami in the head-to-head, and also they lost to Texas A&M. And so why put them back in when they're not going to be really a strong kind of presence if they're in a lower seed? Your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think what surprised me, not that Notre Dame didn't get in, what surprised me is that Alabama got in.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and, and I think that it was about the three-loss precedent that they were trying to say no three-loss team would get in, or that's what we thought they were saying with the committee, right? So with that being said, as you move forward, it made sense for Notre Dame to get in. It actually made sense for Notre Dame to get in, I thought, right after Miami. Because once Virginia lost, I think that opened the door for Miami. Okay. And then I said Notre Dame's right there. But for some reason or another, it seems like the committee was impressed by Alabama coming back, and for regards to that standpoint of doing what they did, at least making that run, if you will, or beating Alabama, or Alabama making that run and actually defeating Georgia previously, right? So that was major. So that's how they rolled with it, and Alabama was excited. So I was just surprised that they let Alabama in after what happened earlier in the season.
Here's what I think the committee did, because it was almost a lock that Notre Dame gets in every year, even though only last year they played, a very impressive playoff run. They had a nice playoff run. Years prior, no. Here's what I think the committee and NCAA football is giving a message to Notre Dame: get into a conference. Enough of this independent stuff. You're playing mostly ACC teams. Get into a conference. Your basketball team is in the ACC conference. Get into a conference. You play no championship game to earn your way to do it. If they had a championship game in a conference, I think they'd be in. But they're always trying to rely on the at-large bid to get into the college playoffs. And they sent the message, no, we're rewarding conferences. They got James Madison in. They got Tulane in. They won their conferences. But Notre Dame, I've been saying this for years, and you get the excuses from Notre Dame fans. Oh, we make too much money to share it with other teams. No, get into a conference and maybe you get into a playoffs. The other thing is, I think Notre Dame is trying to kind of get their get back at NCAA football is to decline going to any bowl games. And I think right now there are 9 teams that are not in bowl games or declining any presence in bowl games, which is going to hurt the bowl season where they make a lot of their money in college, all these sponsors. I'm for it because I'm sick of seeing the Outback Bowl and all the other bowls that you don't care about. But how do you think that's going to hurt NCAA football with these prominent teams that don't make the playoffs declining to go to any bowl games?
When you look from the standpoint of Notre Dame, it seems like they're big crybabies and losers. And I can understand why they were upset. As I think about it again, I think I mentioned something before, but the fact that Alabama got pulverized by Georgia, they rewarded Alabama for beating Georgia early in the year. And you got the three losses. I thought Notre Dame would get in, so they were frustrated and upset, and they took their ball and they went home. In regards to the NCAA, I think it has lost a lot of its luster. So a lot of the bowl games, if you will, really don't matter like that anymore. And plus, too, we know that the championship is not even affiliated or associated with the NCAA at all. It's all sponsored and corporate generated. So they taking that over. I think a lot of the bowl games now are really just for like the schools, right? So if I'm at Bowling Green with Eddie George, or I'm from another school like Yale, and we get to go to a bowl game, and it's an opportunity for the alumni. If you go to a warm weather place because you're used to being in the cold, just an opportunity. I think it has lost its luster as far as the bowl games in general. If you start to eliminate all the bowl games, right? The other ones, these ones that the Pop Tart Bowl and all the other stuff, then you just make it strictly about got to be in the top 12. And it takes the fun out of it. It's always been about tradition. And you might say, well, nobody wants to see it anyway. But somebody at Yale, it's like the NCAA tournament, somebody's going to be watching for their school. And even though you're watching just the winners, somebody's there going, yeah, that's kind of cool. Or that's how you can still make money. Now, they might need to tighten up and lighten the load of how many bowls they have. But I think some of those so-called secondary bowls are worthwhile because when the kids go to school, they want to play for the opportunity to play college football. So if you cut all, just make it where it's just the top 12, whatever, right, teams,
Hmm.
what are you playing for? I mean,
Right.
I'm serious. I mean that with all sincerity. Why we laugh and joke like nobody's watching. The dude that went to Bowling Green and played 5 years, he want to go to a damn ball game. What I go to school for? Just to play. And y'all say, well, you didn't make the 12. You must not be that good. So I think there's some relevance to it. I think they need to cut a few of them all out, but don't take away the tradition because it's all about the money grab. And now it's about NCAA championships. Because remember, at one point, it was all about the Big Ten didn't have a championship. It was all came down to the last game. And that's how we even figured out who the number one team is in the country. And there's always debate. So don't just destroy that. Change it up, but don't just destroy all the bowl systems just yet.
So real quick, you have Texas A&M against Miami, Ole Miss against Tulane, Oklahoma against Alabama. That's a game that Oklahoma won earlier this year. Oregon against James Madison. I'm only interested in two games in this first round: Miami and Texas A&M, and Oklahoma and Alabama. I look for blowouts in Oregon and James Madison, and a blowout in Ole Miss and Tulane. I think they'll get one, and then they'll lose. The folks who have the buys now: Texas Tech, Indiana. We're going to talk about that in a few. Georgia and Ohio State. Let's go to the Georgia and Alabama game. Georgia really just embarrassed Alabama after Alabama beat them. They wanted to show Alabama what they're made of, and that first game was a fluke. And then the Indiana Ohio State game, I mentioned to you when we were off air that when it was halftime and very close, I'm like, this is not good for Ohio State because they were just letting Indiana kind of hang in there. Indiana kind of got in the secondary and got that touchdown. And I'm like, I don't know if Ohio State can recover from that, even though the defenses, both teams played really well. I really don't think that I'm going to change my thoughts about Ohio State winning the national championship again. I still think they're going to win it. I think Indiana's going to face some adversity with some of these teams they're going to play because these are the best of the best in college football.
No, I agree with you. Ohio State, Indiana. Indiana did that, the blueprint of what Michigan likes to do against Ohio State. You control the ball possession. You get tight. You make the young quarterback make plays, and you try to make them rely on Ohio State. That is on special teams, for instance, as if like with the field goal kicker missing field goals, and by limiting the rushing attack of Ohio State, Bo Jackson, I think they were limited to less than 80 yards. And then with that in mind, we also looked at the standpoint, I think Ohio State was like 3 or 12 or 3 or 14 on third down possessions, and they could not put the ball in the end zone. Teams that beat Ohio State, they want to win that game 13-10, right? You want to win by 3 points, you want to keep it light. You do that, you got a chance to win. When Ohio State goes back and does what they need to do by passing the ball more to the tight end and doing other things, sometimes it just kind of got roughed house. And I think that's what happened. And I think the last part I'll say on this is what Ohio State is with the play calling. I think Brian Hartline called more of a conservative game. I don't know why that was, but it just seemed like he did to me anyway. So that allowed Indiana's defense to do what they did with the 5 sacks as well. Alabama, when you mention Alabama, Georgia just came out. Georgia's a very dangerous team.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They're very dangerous offensively and defensively. And I think they showed their mettle versus Alabama. And if there was one team that I would say Ohio State should look out for, and you may not want to face, and they may face them in the semifinals if it goes that way, is Georgia. Georgia's tough.
Also, Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a very dangerous. I don't know anybody in the field right now that wants to deal with Texas Tech. I'm serious. Texas Tech is they got everything. They got defense, they got offense, they got a special team. They can hit you at any kind of point and every point. So I'm looking forward to seeing Texas Tech really kind of go far in this playoffs. Let's go to college basketball. We have a new number one. I did not see this coming at the beginning of the season. I thought it would be Houston. Purdue was hanging on to it, but they got smacked by Iowa State. And so now you have Arizona number one, followed by Michigan. Eventually, I think Michigan's going to be number one. They are that tough of a team. Followed by Duke, the Bruiser brother. He scores like 2 points in the first half, then goes off in the second half. He has a formula that other teams just can't stop. You have Iowa State that moves up to number four, followed by UConn. Purdue drops to number six, followed by Houston. Gonzaga hanging on to that number 8 position, followed by Michigan State, and BYU drops one to number 10. Let me go through the rest of the top 20. You got Louisville, Alabama, Illinois at 13, North Carolina at 14, Vanderbilt, Texas Tech at 16. You have Arkansas, followed by Florida. They're at 5-3, and they're scaring me a little bit because they're a talented team, but they are falling in the ranks. Followed by Kansas. Tennessee is number 20. So in college basketball, man, you're surprised that you got Arizona out there, and they're just doing it. They're doing it, and they're doing it well, man.
Arizona has a very talented team, but we know Arizona for the last few years has been strong and jumped out in the gate early, right? And then you pick them like I do in the tournament, and they're breaking hurt. Just saying. So I got to watch them closely, but I like where they're at right now. They won some very important games. They won some games against some top teams, and they beat them handily. So kudos to them right now, early on. I don't even know what to say about that team up north. I've been warning you guys about them, how talented they are. I'm still frustrated a little bit. That's a personal thing. But they are really moving forward and showing you how good they are. I mean, they are blowing teams out like 30, 40 points. They beat Gonzaga by about 40, Auburn by 30. Really good teams. Duke is Duke. Duke is, they're young. As you mentioned earlier, the Boozer twins are coming along. They're going to do nothing but get better as the season goes along. You do not want to see them in the tournament. We know we had Cooper Flag, his group of henchmen last year. They got better at each game. I think this Duke team is going to be the same way. Team that I'm really excited about, and they deserve to be where they're at right now because they take no prisoners, is Iowa State. Iowa State's a very good team. I think they blew somebody out recently. I think they beat Tennessee or somebody like that. But Iowa State's a very good team. So that's somebody you might want to look down the line for. UConn is just UConn. They just reload. And you can say what you want to about Hurley. He cuts his team out, say they're not really any good. But you do not want to face them because he has this ability to recruit these real big dudes and athletic guys that some people never ever even heard of until it's tournament time, right? Or you get to league play and they play their butts off for him. Purdue, and I know people are not going to like this, Big Ten, I think they're a little overrated because they play a certain kind of style where they move the ball. And besides having a big fella, Edey, a couple years ago, now they're moving the ball around where they're playing like a new version of the Midwest version of the Golden State Warriors where they move the ball and they got one guy that's a top-notch shooter and everybody else circle around him. But I don't think they have the other players like in the post that help to make a run. Now they'll win games, they're exciting, but I think they're still the way they play hurts them when they go to the tournament. Michigan State, I know they have ups and downs, right? But that's gonna be a damn good team. Coach Izzo, it's a ragtag group of guys. And I don't like to put race in it, but on paper it don't even look right. You got these freshmen that don't know what they're doing. They're still learning the system. You got these dudes that are 6'9", 6'10", not no real big dudes, but they're very physical and can play. And you put that all together and when they play defense, Izzo has them right on point, and they don't back for anybody. I watched them earlier when they played Arkansas early in the year. They handled them even though the team was clearly more far superior talent-wise.
I noticed that Coach Izzo and Coach Hurley recruit guys that are kind of like themselves. Coach Hurley is a dog. He's a dog, and he recruits dogs. Every UConn team you've seen, like you said, they don't back down. And Coach Izzo coaches toughness. He's a tough guy. He's a tough, hard-nosed coach. And he recruits guys that are tough and hard-nosed, that will not quit, that will give you everything that you want more in those games if you're their opponent. So I noticed that those two coaches really recruit guys that are more like them, that he knows that he got they got some scrappers, they got some fighters out there, and they're going to give you everything they got no matter who they're playing. And that's why I really like these two teams. And it's going to be interesting to see if they even play in the tournament in March. I'm wondering if they'll play and match up and see who's the toughest. I don't even know if the winner of that game will have anything left to go on, but I want to see that particular game. Anything else in college basketball, man, before I go into some of the games that people need to watch?
Yeah, I would say though that another team like that and another guy that really has kind of changed the way that he's coaching and the people that he recruits and show his toughness is Kelvin Sampson at Houston.
Yes, yes.
They're a beast. They're dogs, and they just keep coming at you. So I like that too. Like you said, Michigan State. I think Louisville has made a move. They're better than what they have been the last couple of years. And last but not least, even though they have not played a lot of teams and they lost a lot of games, I think when it's all said and done, you're going to be you need to be very cautious with watching Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama's a good team. They're just young and they get a different way to play. But when they get into their conference and they start getting ready for the postseason, I think they're going to be a team to watch.
Yeah. Games to watch. You have UConn and Florida. They're playing this week. You have Ohio State and Illinois. They're playing this week. And just check out BYU. They're playing Clemson and also Michigan against Villanova. Let's go to NBA news, man. And I know I talked about this last week. And one of the things that the Clippers did was they got rid of CP3. Now, there are stories that Ty Lue and CP3 were bumping heads because CP3 has a tendency to try to coach from the bench as a player. He was telling Kawhi Leonard and other players to do certain things opposed to the coaches or what Ty Lue had going on. Then there's another story. And I saw this on camera where CP3 was talking to Ty Lue's lady out in the hallway. Ty Lue comes out and CP3 looks guilty, like, I didn't know this was your girl, and it looked really strange. It looked like he was guilty or something, or he was trying to mac real hard. And they're saying that was like the final straw of him letting go of CP3 and saying, you know what, it's just not working out. Your thoughts on CP3?
Well, one, I mean, if you're going to keep CP3 around, he's older, a little longer in the tooth. If you have a young team like when he was in San Antonio, you can kind of help them along, show some of the guys the lay of the land and how it works. But with the Clippers, it's 800 veterans over here.
Yeah.
Why is I mean, if you're gonna, he's going to get limited minutes. If he's not going to really be an asset and he's causing problems off the court, why would you keep him? They don't need him. They're already bad. So what is he going to do? Just add to it? I mean, you don't need another voice. And I think that's what he is right now. So if he was able to go somewhere else, but I think he'll probably end up retiring and doing something else because he's a very talented guy, right? He go in the media, he do some other things, maybe could even coach. But when you see foolishness like that, the Clippers are already struggling. And if we're out here struggling, I'm trying to get my team together. You out here talking to my girl? No, you out here. Come on, bro.
Still your girl, Junior. Man.
Yeah, it's pretty sad when you think about that, especially he's been around. I think got his own family and stuff like that too. Is that why they took him out to them commercials? Anyway, I'll leave that alone.
Maybe. Let's go to the NFL. And the NFL picture is kind of getting a little bit clearer. Detroit is not in the playoffs right now. So if the season ended today, Chicago is in that number 1 seed. Now they're in the number 7 seed, which gives the Los Angeles Rams a bye. You also have Seattle against Tampa Bay. That will be a NFC game. You have San Francisco against Philadelphia. That will be another game that's going on. Then you have Chicago and Green Bay. I don't think that will happen in the playoffs. I think there are going to be some more shakeups as the season goes along. In the AFC, Denver is the number 1 seed. You have Buffalo against Pittsburgh. That may happen. And if Buffalo and Pittsburgh can kind of hold on and hold on to where they are, you have the Chargers against Jacksonville, who's leading their division. And you have Houston. That's right, folks. Houston against New England. Now, I was with a buddy this weekend watching the Bears and the Green Bay game, and he kept saying, hey, it's going to be the Bears and New England. It's going to be a rematch of the 85 Super Bowl. And I'm like, come on, bro. Come on. But a lot of Bear fans kind of had to eat humble pie over the weekend after that loss in Green Bay. And the week after next, I think they play here in Chicago. So I think a lot of things are going to be shaken up. And I'm picking Detroit right now. I'm announcing on this show because they got to get in the playoffs. They got to get in the playoffs, and I'm picking them against the Rams, who's holding that number one seed. Your thoughts on the NFL and the playoff brackets?
I'm gonna say this: Chicago people, calm down. I did say I thought they were a playoff team, which they're going to be a playoff team. Y'all need to relax. All that Super Bowl stuff. Let them make the playoffs first. How about that? Let's start. Let's start with the playoffs, and then let them work their way up. They're a lot better than what they were, and even though they dropped the 7th seed when they were a lot higher, give them a break. Let them get there and see how they finish the rest of the year. One of the teams that I think is slowly coming back around, nobody's talking about easing their way up, San Francisco. They slowly but surely just kind of winning ball games, get McCaffrey right and getting things right, and they can cause a few problems. So we'll see there. I like Seattle as well. I think they got a solid foundation. I'm still not, even though they have been winning games, I'm still not sold on Green Bay just yet. I think the Rams are really good at times, but then they can also let you down. But if I look over at the AFC, I'll say that I don't think Denver's for real. I think they're paper champions.
Woo!
And, yeah, and I think everybody's excited because of the coach, and some people like the coach because he's old school and he's gritty and he'll tell you really what he wants and all that crap, man. You better calm down. They're gonna watch. It's gonna happen. I'm telling y'all right now. Denver, they win in ugly games, win in ugly ways, come from behind, getting them little wins. It's about to get real here soon. So I'm glad Houston came back around because I think they deserve that with the quarterback moving forward like he did. I do like New England. I'm not saying they're going to do well in the playoffs, but I like the effort they put in. I think it's a great basis for a strong nucleus in the future. And you just got to get that up, right? The coach Vrabel for what he's already put up there. That's very important. I think the Steelers are perpetrating fraud. I don't think the Chargers are really all that. That quarterback still makes me nervous. I know they've been winning games, but I mean, every time you say, "Oh yeah, they gotta really win," they find a way to drop the ball. Buffalo, what the hell? If this ain't your year, it's been your year the last 4 years. We still waiting. And I don't know. I just every time I want to say yeah, Buffalo, I got to turn back around. I have to wait for them to show me what they're going to do. And kudos, even though on my last point on the NFL in this spot, kudos to Jacksonville. Because they've been dogging that quarterback forever and talk about how they're no good, but then all of a sudden they've been winning football games. And I remember watching and picking them when they played the Raiders, and it was like a toss up. And then they finally, it seemed like a switch clicked for Jacksonville, and they started playing better football, started winning more games. So kudos to them because there's a lot of pressure over there because of the high draft picks, right? The amount of money they've been spending and the different coaches they brought in. So kudos for them to at least turn around being a winning football team.
What's on my mind? Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford was stripped of the WBC belt, and I, for one, agree with Terrence Crawford. This boxing and all these belts is ridiculous, and paying a sanctioning fee or all that stuff, I think is BS. And give up the belt. The belts are trophies now, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. has been saying this for years that it's corrupt. It's corrupt with all these sanctioning bodies, and you're getting 20, 30, whatever percentage of the purse of the fighter. It's really just nonsense. And supposedly the money's supposed to go to boxers who don't box anymore to take care of them. Bullshit. Bullshit. You're not taking care of the old boxers. You're not using that money to take care of anybody. You're putting it in your pockets. So these sanctioning bodies of these belts and these champions, y'all need to clean that up. There needs to be one belt per weight class. One belt. That's it. One belt. All these different belts you're creating, all these different champions, and they don't want to fight each other. It's really ruining the sport of boxing. And Terrence, I agree with you. Don't pay the fees. Give them the belt if they want it. But, do what you got to do, man. Because you've been saying, this is not the first time you've said this. And other fighters have said this before. And they used to always use the excuse, oh, well, the money is used for taking care of retired boxers. That's bullshit. I call bullshit on that. Your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I can see that. But unfortunately, this is how business has been done for years, right? You get the WBC that they put out there that with the fees, you had to pay that if you wanted to have the belt, right? So now they strip you. Chance Crawford is in a unique situation because of the factor that he's on top now. But some guys that were able only to get maybe the IBO belt, right, or IBF belt, the WBO and the IBF belts, they had to pay to play. So that's how it's done. Should it change? Definitely. But Terrence Crawford's in the position to say something about it and say, I don't need the belt because I know how great I am, right? I already proved to you how I am. So if you take it, you can do what you want to with it. The belts don't really matter. Somebody else may not have that luxury. I get it. But if you think that the WBO, WBA, WCs, those type of organizations are going to change their fees, their structure fees, so you can hold their belt, I doubt it. One, because they don't have to. And like you said, if you like Terrence Crawford and you don't want to play, just give it up. But he's only one dude. There's a lot of other people that are desperate for that belt because you look at the standpoint of we had that fight recently. We had Pitbull Cruz had the belt and he fought Roach Jr. And to me, the fight itself was a bad matchup for Roach because the way that Pitbull fights, he's really aggressive. He's banging. He's kind of on the dirty side because of being physical. And it just was a bad matchup because Roach likes to move around and bounce around. And I think he took the fight, Roach, that is, because he wanted the belt. And he thought it was easy just go get Pitbull's belt. Pitbull was like, nah, you got to come get this. And I think when he found out, even though it was a draw, if you decide that you thought Roach won, it was a bad risk. Because in the end, what'd you get? Nothing. And now you want to whine and cry a little bit. Don't say wine and cheese. Then you say, well, it did me like they did with Tank. You should have been ready to take that fight. You weren't ready. Pitbull came and fought. You say he cheated, he was doing whatever. But if you're good, and this is the thing, if he's supposed to be a superior fighter with superior talent, then I think he should have found a way to beat Pitbull. Most people that have superior talent do, and I think a lot of people don't see, unfortunately, him on that level. And that's why a lot of people are calling him out. Now you see Mr. Gary Russell calling him out because I don't think people are scared of him. They kind of see him for what he was. He was able to bang with Tank because Tank Davis, Tank Davis was able to he had a bad day. So with that being said, I think there's a lot to all this stuff with the boxing. But I think overall, like I said, they're going to have to find ways to get other monies. And right now, the way that the landscape is, it's still the big balls, it's still certain players that are running their controlling the destinies of certain fighters. There are exceptions like Terrence Crawford, where he controls his own destiny. Everybody can't do that.
I'll give my last second shot right now. Somebody investigate Cleveland's coach. I mean, the Cleveland Clowns coach. He's made some really, really peculiar play calling and crucial parts of the game that's affecting betting. Please investigate him. Please investigate him. It did not make any sense to take a quarterback who threw for more than 300 yards out on a 2-point conversion and your team loses. And I don't know who called that play. I'm thinking it's him. What were you doing? What were you thinking about? Then you might want to investigate Kansas City coach for going for it on fourth and putting your defense in a bad situation in Kansas City. There's got to be investigated because they're playing in our faces, folks. They're playing in our faces, and it's all tied to, and it seems like the NFL and the NBA, and yes, college football with that player running out of bounds instead of scoring, they're in bed with betting. They're in bed with betting, and it's really leaving me with a sour taste in my mouth as far as sports. I'd rather not watch than to watch the shenanigans and go back to the WWE. I'll go watch the WWE before I watch this stuff again if it gets any worse. Your last second shot.
That was a lot. He did a lot, but that's okay. He did a lot. So, okay. But twofold, real quick. Kudos to Shedeur Sanders. It's a lot of pressure on him over here in Cleveland. And he wasn't perfect. But man, did he look like he could play. He could belong out there. And I'm happy for him because I think collectively he's trying to show that team, even though he may seem a little bit on the arrogant side, that he can play. And if they work with him, he can be a decent player. I didn't say he's the best player, but he's worthwhile at least taking a look at. And I think the coach now, because of his play, is being forced to put him out there on the field because he does give him a good chance to win. My second thing, real quick, is Ohio State football fans. Here's the deal. We know how this goes. Everybody losing their mind. They thought Ohio State was going to repeat and go all undefeated, not lose a game and make history and tell everybody how bad they are. Hey, they lost the game. They lost the game to a real good, very good Indiana team that controlled the game. You know, they went back old school Big Ten football. And everybody was talking about these things. One thing I did mention, I said earlier too, is that Ohio State was able to complete, I think, 14 attempts. I might be a little wrong with that, 3 or 14 and 3 or 12 third down conversions, right? They're struggling there. And these teams now are trying to put Julian Sayin on the hot seat. He's very good. Was he Heisman worthy? Maybe the stats were not so sure about him because you notice right now, early on he struggled against Michigan, and now he struggled against Indiana. And a lot of that could be with play calling. But I think overall is that even when Ohio State, everybody here in Columbus and even other fans in surrounding areas, everybody has a theory or a reason why they had a setback. But remember last year, same type of thing happened. Lost to Michigan. Give them a couple weeks, they should be okay. As long as they stop being so conservative. Stop being conservative. Throw the ball, move the ball, throw the ball to the tight end. The defense is going to be okay. The kicker has to make the damn field goals. We know that. Everybody has to do, basically, everybody has to do their job. Okay. Simply put, everybody has to do the job. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, at least for the last couple of years, even when Ohio State struggled and has been bad and made a bunch of mistakes, they still didn't lose by 3 points. So damn. Even when they play just halfway right, they usually win. So everybody calm down, reset, take some rest, get some vitamins, get pumped up, get ready for another run.
I love what the Indiana coach said. And I don't know if he said it before or after the game. A question was asked by a reporter and says, what's your recruitment strategy? What do you tell these guys when you're recruiting them? He said, I win. Google my resume. I gotta love it. You gotta love it.
I got one question on that though. One thing, and this is last second shot. I'm not mad because Ohio State lost. It is what it is. They are where they need to be. But now the Indiana's number one. We're gonna find out. That's all I'm gonna say. Because it's great to say, oh yeah, we just got the opportunity to do this and that. Think about it from this standpoint of who they play in the second round, right? When it comes out, could be a major test for Indiana. So you're number one seed, everything's great. But how will you handle the pressure? How will you handle all those things? Whose fault will it be then? You still, when you're a top-notch team and the number one seed, you got to prove it that you belong there. That's all I'm saying.
That's our show. We'll see you next week. Peace.